Hello everyone, and welcome to Lesson 5 of Xcode Tips. In this tutorial, I'm going to be covering how to use the developer documentation as well as the quick help menu. Surprisingly, these are actually probably some of the most useful things in Xcode to learn. So what does this mean? Developer documentation is basically just references to or more information about different classes as well as methods that pertain to those classes in Objective-C and some other languages as well. But basically, they're great reference tools to understand more about what's in a class. So if I'm looking to see what are all the methods of a class, we can learn that. Since most people don't know everything about the classes that are in Objective-C, so Apple so generously creates this developer documentation so that we can learn what is in these classes. So that's what we're going to learn about today. So a little update on me. If you are subscribed to the channel, you've realized that your subscription feed has not added any new videos from me in probably the last probably 2 weeks now. And that's because unfortunately I just recently had shoulder surgery, which pretty much puts your right arm out of any good function for a while anyway, and it's kind of painful to try to type with two hands. So, and typing with one hand is kind of a pain in the butt for when you're trying to do tutorials, so I've kind of refrained from doing them for now. So anyway, I should be back and getting tutorials, getting them going in probably less than a week, maybe a week. I don't know. Try to go for less than a week. But anyway, that's pretty much the update on moi. So let's get back to this tutorial. So yeah, quick help menu and developer documentation. So let's say we just want to look up some information about some methods that we're already using in our program, some more information about a class. That's what the quick help menu is really useful for. By the way, the developer documentation is right there, if you're wondering. So they're both really close to each other. And if we go ahead and click the quick help menu, as you can see, we get this amazing little menu bar thing up here, and it says symbol not found, and that basically means that we're not clicked on anything. So this will change when we click on something that is a method or a class. So if I click on this, and as you can see, it changes, and it becomes the init method, which is from NSObject, and it gives a whole list of information about that method. If I click alloc, it changes, and it tells me more information about the alloc method. Same for if I hit a class, it will change and tell me all this cool information about the class. So that's that. Let's go back to the init method and let's see what our panel shows. So the abstract section is basically the definition. So as you can see, implemented by subclasses to initialize a new object immediately after memory for it has been allocated. What does that mean? Well, basically, it gives a pretty good definition there. If you look it over a few times, you may understand it. Basically, whatever our alloc method does, it allocates something in memory. Then our init method comes along and initializes those values that are just created in memory. So that's pretty much what the init method does. And that's what the abstract portion it means. It just means the definition of pretty much the method you're using. The next part is the declaration, which is pretty much what the method name looks like. So here it shows the type of method, which is a instance method, and that's cool. And then it shows the return type, which is an object. That's cool as well. And then it also shows the name, and it would show some parameters if init actually had parameters, but init doesn't have any parameters. So obviously it's not going to show that. And that's pretty much what the declaration just shows. It shows what the method looks like. The next part is the return value, which tells you what it's returning, the initialized receiver, or the initialized object, whatever you want to call it. That's pretty much what the return value is, just saying what it's returning. Sample code is just different pieces of code that Apple gives you so that you can check out just how the init method is used, basically. So if you go ahead and click on one of these, it would open up, I think, okay, it'll open up this, and then you can check out the code that is listed inside the developer documentation, blah, 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 blah. That's cool. We'll get to that a little bit later. Anyway, so that's you can download those sample codes as well, I believe, and you can check those out in Xcode and even build them. So sample code is just code that uses the method or the class that you're looking at. Related documents are just documents that are related. I guess that kind of in the title, but anyway. Basically, this is just giving you a documentation guide thing that might help you understand the init method a little better. So that's related documents. That's pretty self-explanatory. Related API, basically just different methods that you can use or different methods that are related to the init method. So alloc obviously is semi-related to init because every time we call alloc, we call init. So that's how it's related. And you can see a few of these other methods are related. New, I believe, calls init. So as you can see, they're just related. They're methods that have something to do with the init method. Availability means basically if the method is still in use or when it was started. Anyway, so availability, as you can see, you can use the init method anywhere from macOS 10 and up. So we are now on Snow Leopard as of this point. So we're the init method is still used today. So it's an old method, but it is still a new method in that respect. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole rundown of what the panel actually gives you. Now there's two buttons at the top here. One, if I click the header file section, it will open up the header file that the method is in. So as you can see, nsobject.h is the header file that the init method is declared in. If I go back to init here and I click the book, that will open it up in developer documentation. So if I hit that, and it will load. And as you can see, it loads our NSObject class reference, and here's our init method right here. So that's pretty much how that works right there, and pretty self-explanatory, and that's that. Yeah, so let's take a little look now at the developer documentation. So if I go up to the help bar again and I hit developer documentation, now I get the developer documentation window and I can look up any cool information that I want to look up. So let's say I don't know that much about the NSString method and I want to, look at some methods that are maybe of use to me. So I can type in NSString like so, and it will load up, and I have deselected a bunch of other languages, but you can look up stuff for other languages as well. And I'll add all the other ones on, and as you can see, it will look up stuff for all languages, and it's just fetching all the data that is related to the NSString class. So now if I click different things here, it will load. Here's my NSString class references, which is what I'm looking for. Class reference just means the NSString class, and as you can see, you can find that under here. The C stands for class, so that's what I'm looking for. And if I start looking through this, I can see all this interesting information, and shows a bunch of things here. If I scroll down, the overview is actually always a pretty good idea to read if you don't know much about the class. It will give you some interesting methods that might help you out, and just general information about the class itself. So the overview is always a great idea to read, especially for newcomers to the language. You can learn a lot from the overview section. So the overview is great to learn. The next part is the tasks portion, which is basically all the methods that are related to this class. So as you can see, they're all subcategorized, and as you can see, this part says creating and initializing strings, So init with format is one of those methods. String with format is one of those methods. String with string is another one of those methods. So you can see that basically they're all subclassed. Here's some methods for writing to a file. Here are some methods for getting a string's length. And let's just say I'm more interested in that, and I want to see what what does this length method do? Well, I can just click on that, and it will jump me right to that spot in the page where it declares what length it does. So length, it returns the number of Unicode characters in the receiver, aka it returns the length of the string. So here's what the method looks like. It is an instance method, so it means it needs an instance to run, an instance of an NS string. Then it will, here, that's all this really means is it returns an integer, and then this part is just the name of the method, which is length. So that in total is your length method, and it'll show you the return value and then a bunch of other information, blah 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 blah. So that's a great way of looking up things in the NSString class. And over on the side here, it has like a little table of contents section. If you hit the caret, you can kind of glance at all the different subcategories that you might want to look at. Combining strings, all the methods for combining strings, all the methods for dividing strings. These are all under the tasks portion that we were looking at earlier. So this is how you can use the developer documentation, and you can probably already see how this can be pretty useful. You can look up a lot of great stuff with it, and learn a lot about all the classes that you may want to use. So that's great. Two things I just want to touch on before I conclude this tutorial. If you want to add the quick help menu to your toolbar, you can go up to there, right click the toolbar and hit customize toolbar, and just drag the quick help menu onto your toolbar as such, and then you can access the quick help menu a little faster. Another awesome I guess keyboard shortcut that I use quite a bit is Command and Option, which gives you this little like crosshair symbol. And then if you double click on a class or method, it works a little better for classes. But if I double click on a class, it will load that up in the developer documentation, look it up for me, and give me the class reference. So it's a great way to just find something really quickly in the developer documentation. So yeah, that's pretty much that, and you can see that it'll give me all the information that I want to know about NS auto release and what's its different methods, etc. So yeah, that's pretty much developer documentation and the quick help menu. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below or just send me a message, whatever you prefer. As far as the channel in general, I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. I'm nearing 200 subscribers by this point anyway, and I'd love for you to be the 200th. Do you win anything? No, but I'd like it, and maybe you'd like it too. I don't know. I don't really care. But it'd be great. So we get updates from the channel, and you can even submit new ideas that you have for the future of the channel as well. And I definitely listen to all of the feedback that you send me, and even respond to quite a bit of it as well. So it's great. And anyway, I'd love to see you next tutorial, and I hope you continue to watch. Alright, see you then.